Hey there, I'm Benjamin from Loves Data. In this video, you'll learn how to connect your server-side container to your cookie banner. If you're using server-side tagging with Google Tag Manager, it's essential to link it with your consent management platform. This way, you'll stay compliant with privacy requirements, and you'll also be able to make the most of your consented data in Google Analytics, Google Ads, and other platforms. Before we get started, I want to thank Usercentrics for sponsoring this video. Their server-side tagging solution makes it quick and easy to get up and running. And if you haven't watched my tutorial on setting up a server-side container yet, you can find a link to it in the description below. Okay, let's get started. Let's head to WordPress. My demo site is running on WordPress. But I want to mention that you can easily add Cookiebot to a range of website platforms. If you're using another platform for your website and you'd like me to cover the steps to set up Cookiebot, please let me know in the comments. Okay, before we install Cookiebot on our website, we're going to need our Google Tag Manager container ID. To find this, let's hover over Settings and select Google Tag Manager. We can now copy our container ID. And if you don't have Google Tag Manager installed yet, you can find a link to my video where we cover the steps to set this up in the description below. Okay, now that we have our container ID, let's hover over Plugins and select Add Plugin. Now let's search for Cookiebot. And let's install the Usercentrics Cookiebot plugin. And let's click Activate. Now let's select Get Started for the Usercentrics Cookiebot plugin. If you're new to Cookiebot, you can click Activate Free Banner. But since I already have an account, I'm going to click Connect Account. Since I'm using Cookiebot, I need my domain group ID. To find this, let's head to Cookiebot. I've already logged into my account, so let's navigate to Implementation. And scrolling down, we can see the domain group ID under the Installation Guides heading. Let's copy this. Now let's head back to WordPress. And let's paste our domain group ID. And click Connect Account. The plugin is connected to our existing Cookiebot account, so let's select the Google Tag Manager tab. And let's enable the Google Tag Manager option. Now let's paste our container ID that we copied earlier. And before we save our changes, let's select the Google Consent Mode tab. We just want to ensure that the Google Consent Mode option is enabled. It is enabled, so everything looks good here. Now let's click Save Changes. We've now added Cookiebot to our WordPress site. The next step is to configure our server-side container to capture consent choices and use them to control when our tags fire. To do this, let's head to Google Tag Manager. I've already logged in and opened the server-side container. This is the container we set up in the previous video. If you haven't set this up yet, you can find a link to the video in the description. First, we need to create a variable in our server-side container. This variable will make people's consent selections available in our server-side container. We can then use this variable to control when our tags fire. Okay, let's navigate to Variables. And let's click New to create a new variable. Let's name the variable Google Consent Signal. And let's select Variable Configuration. Now let's select Event Data as the variable type. And for the key path, we need to enter X-, GA-, GCS, all lowercase. Now let's save the variable. Next, we need to create triggers based on the values of our new variable. We'll then use these to control when our tags fire. Let's navigate to Triggers. And let's click New to create a new trigger. Let's name the trigger Consent Status No Analytics. And let's select Trigger Configuration. Let's choose Custom as the type. Now we select Some Events. And we need to select our Google Consent Signal variable. Now let's choose Matches regex as the condition. And for the value, let's enter G1 \D0 with a capital G. This trigger will fire when analytics consent hasn't been provided. We will use this in a moment as an exception trigger. This basically means that if consent is provided, our tag can fire normally. But if consent isn't provided, this trigger will stop the tag from firing. Now let's save the trigger. And let's click New to create one more trigger. Let's name this trigger Consent Status No Ads. And let's select Trigger Configuration and choose Custom as the type. Now let's select Some Events. And let's select our Google Consent Signal variable again. Let's choose Matches regex. And let's enter G10 \D with a capital G. This trigger is like the one we've already created, but this one will fire when ads consent hasn't been provided. Now let's save the trigger. You can also create triggers for ad personalization and ads user data. If you'd like to learn about these, then let me know in the comments and I'll share the details. Finally, we need to adjust our tags to use our consent-based triggers. To do this, let's navigate to Tags. In our server-side container, we can see there's just one tag, which is for Google Analytics. So let's select this tag. Now let's select Triggering. And let's click Add Exception. And let's select the consent state No Analytics trigger we created. This will mean our GA4 tag will fire for any GA4 events, but it will be blocked if analytics consent hasn't been granted. Okay, now let's save our tag. Now let's test that everything works correctly. To do this, let's click Preview in our server-side container. And let's head back to Google Tag Manager. And let's switch to the web container. Now let's click Preview for our web container. Tag Assistant loads. And we enter our website's URL. And click Connect. Our website loads. And we can see the Cookiebot cookie banner loads. Since we haven't granted consent yet, this means our tag shouldn't have fired. To check this, let's open the Tag Assistant tab for our server-side container. We can see our GA4 tag hasn't fired yet. And let's select the Page View hit on the left. Scrolling down, we can see our consent state trigger was matched, which then blocked the tag from firing. Okay, now let's head back to the website. And let's click Allow All to grant consent. Now let's head back to the Tag Assistant tab for our server-side container. We can see a new page view hit. Let's select this. And this time we can see our GA4 tag has fired, so everything is working correctly. We just need to publish our server-side container. Let's head back to Google Tag Manager. Switch to our server-side container. And let's click Submit. We name our version. And click Publish. We've now integrated our server-side container with Cookiebot. This means your tags will now fire based on the consent choices people make using your consent management platform. And because you're using server-side tagging, you'll also benefit from improved data quality. Thanks again to Usercentrics for sponsoring this video. And to learn more about their server-side tagging solution, you can find a link in the description below. If you'd like me to cover the steps to configure other tags in your server-side container, please let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.